All right, welcome in. This is about to be the most San Francisco evening ever. I'm leaving the San Francisco Italian Athletic Club, where I've just been inducted as a member, and I'm about to get into the Waymo, the driverless car. So let's have at it here in San Francisco for the ride home. It's waiting for me. It's probably already beeping because the door is open. There we go. Let's start the ride. Let's get the seatbelt on. We're on Washington Square, by the way. I said San Francisco Italian Athletic Club because I think this is the best spot of the city. There we go. No driver. Casper's in, and we are in as well. Going to go right by St. Peter and Paul Cathedral. We're going to arrive in 22 minutes on our way home. You could see here, that's where Joe DiMaggio and Marilyn Monroe took their wedding pictures. Nice looking church right on Washington Square. And we will continue on through North Beach. All right, let me get the light on in here so we can talk a bit on our way. The Warriors, how about the Warriors? Talk about a win in the regular season that brought on some outsized importance, right? I mean, that was something for the Golden State Warriors. Somebody told me at the athletic club, the Italian athletic club, that the Warriors were playing the team, the Celtics. Obviously, they beat them in the finals a couple years ago, but the Celtics had the best record in the NBA, and the Warriors win in overtime. They right the ship. Just a couple weeks ago, John Lynch was talking about the Warriors on the radio, and he said they're going to turn it around. They got the right people in there. They're going to right the ship. And, it's a long season. We don't know what's going to happen, but you could tell by the way that Steph Curry and all those guys were reacting after the game when they sealed it, that this was a big deal, that this carried on some outsized importance as far as turning it around. There's the North Star. That's the Buffalo Bills bar in San Francisco. The only reason I bring that up is because there's a non-zero chance that the 49ers and the Bills meet in the Super Bowl this year. But, the Warriors 49ers crossover is something that I've really noticed here over the past couple of years. I mean, both really well-run organizations, both organizations that obviously have a legacy of winning, the 49ers before the Warriors and then the Warriors more recently. I know Bob Myers, not the GM of the Warriors anymore, but he's at 49ers games all the time. Steve Kerr, whenever he's in the neighborhood, he'll swing by, and by the neighborhood I mean Santa Clara. He'll swing by and he'll say hello to John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan and company. Shanahan, when he records all the Warriors games, we're about to go through the Broadway tunnel, by the way. Hopefully I don't lose you, but I'm going to keep it this way for the Broadway tunnel. This is a cool little angle. But Shanahan, he'll record all the Warriors games. He'll make sure that he has a chance to watch them after that. And there's a mutual respect between both organizations here in the Bay Area. And today was undeniably a massive win for the Warriors because they'd been blowing games left and right. Draymond is suspended right now. It's obviously they were a dynasty. They're trying to perpetuate the dynasty. They're dealing with the challenges that go along with that, and they're a unique set of challenges for the Warriors, just as they are a unique set of challenges for any dynasty that's trying to perpetuate its success. And they had run into some tough times. And I think that now they've won 3 straight games and they beat the team with the best record in the NBA. So, and this came right on the heels of John Lynch talking about the Warriors. I swear, he's on the radio not too long ago saying they're going to turn this around, that they just have too many smart people in that building. And coming back against the Boston Celtics at home, winning through that adversity they just won through, I think that teaches us a lesson, not just about basketball and not just about, basketball. There's a lot of relatively meaningless regular season games, but it shows us the importance of staying the course through storms in professional sports. And the 49ers went through a storm of their own this year when they lost those 3 straight games in October. Now, the 49ers lost their 3 straight in October. It's a lot better to lose 3 straight in the NFL in October than it is to lose 3 straight in December. And that's what just happened to the Philadelphia Eagles. That's why the 49ers are in such good shape. By the way, I just noticed that Casper over here, the driver of this car, last time I made this joke too. This guy is really short. That's not a lot of leg room for my driver right now. This is a Waymo, by the way. Waymo is the driverless car company that has the nicest driverless cars. They do a really good job, and I'm happy to be riding home and being able to talk to you. So post your questions. If I see your comments and your questions, then there's a chance that I will answer them. So let's go from there, as we've got about 15 minutes left before I make it home. Warriors win. Bay Area sports looking like they're in a decent spot. With football, they're in a historic spot. The 49ers are playing as one of the greatest teams ever. They've got to obviously finish the job. The Warriors, they're one of the great basketball dynasties ever. I mean, what they did to change the game over the last decade has been remarkable, and they're just trying to hang on. They're just trying to see a little bit more success before it's all said and done, before Steph Curry's swan song. And today, when he hit that three against Boston, I mean, that thing, first of all, the reason why it's raining in the Bay Area right now, and yes, it's not like raining at this moment, but you could see the ground here on Van Ness is wet. But I think the reason that precipitation came down might be because of that Steph Curry three. Holy crap, that thing floated in the air for a long time. They're going to play that on highlight reels for a while. It was vintage Steph Curry squared. Like, holy crap, that ball was in there for a long time. Gave him the 4-point lead, and then he did the little sleep gesture, right? That was an homage to Steph Curry icing games over the past couple years. You could tell that it meant a little bit more to the Warriors today than a typical regular season win, and you could see why. Kind of like with the 49ers, when they were on that 3-game losing streak, they went into the bye week. Everybody was talking about that Jacksonville game as being a defining game, and they're like, oh, the 49ers, if they lose this, it's done. It wouldn't have been over if they had dropped to 5-4, right, technically. But the fact that they won, they beat Jacksonville 34-3. They moved to 6-3. They obviously haven't lost since. That started a 6-game winning streak. The fact that all of that happened just underscored the importance of riding the ship and staying the course. So you stay the course and the ship will right if you've got the right people and the talent in the building. There was so much noise surrounding the 49ers at that bye week that just didn't make any sense. So Brock Purdy's regressed. The defense has gotten figured out. Nick Bosa isn't good anymore. Whereas, football's a complementary sport. Football's also a sport that's really physical, so fatigue is a big part of it. The 49ers needed some rest, and I think the big adjustment they needed to make over the bye week was Steve Wilks needed to find his rhythm with the defense a little bit better. And the way they attained that was by moving Isaiah Oliver out of the nickel spot to the bench and bringing Diamond Lenore inside. The coverage combinations got figured out. Trevor Lawrence was confused as hell because Steve Wilks was actually able to call his complex coverages without getting roasted within just a couple of seconds. The pass rush hit home. Brock Purdy was never a problem for the 49ers. He's been playing good football all year, and everything clicked. One thing happens, and then the domino effect takes hold. That's a sign of a good team. That's why the Warriors aren't screwed. That's why the 49ers weren't screwed. Because you fix one thing and then everything else falls into place. You trust in the talent that you have. All right, San Francisco tour continues here. We're driverless. Waymo, City Hall. Look at that. Christmas colors, red and green on City Hall. Not long from now, they're going to make City Hall red and gold for the 49ers. That's going to be the playoffs for this football team. The 49ers have already, I think, taken over the sports fandom of this region this year. They've grabbed the attention of everybody because they're the goddamn 49ers. And they've done so much for this city. I mean, you go back to the 1980s and the 5 Super Bowls they won over the course of the 2 decades that followed the turn of 1980. But whenever the 49ers are good, they they galvanized the Bay Area. And San Francisco City Hall, in many ways, is the center of the Bay Area. And San Francisco City Hall is going to be red and gold over the course of this upcoming playoff run. And the 49ers are likely going to be the number one seed following what Seattle did to Philadelphia last night. So we'll check out City Hall. We'll see through the driverless car window. I want to see the top of the dome. This used to be the state capital of California, that ornate building. The dome of City Hall is taller than the dome of the nation's capital in Washington, D.C. All right, we continue on. I'm not seeing any comments today, so I'm guessing it's not working, so I'm just going to continue talking. That never seems to be a problem with me. I know how to talk. I know how to talk about the 49ers, especially at the Italian Athletic Club today, just a complete institution. They've been around since about 1900, a little bit after that, right there on Washington Square. Obviously, Lombardi is an Italian name. We were watching the Warriors game. I got inducted today, by the way, into the San Francisco Italian Athletic Club, which was cool. We got almost 1,000 members, 987 members to be exact. I'll give you a video tour of that place at some point. But there are a lot of big Niners fans. There are a few Raiders fans in there, but we were watching the Warriors. And we were talking about Draymond. He's obviously indefinitely suspended right now. We were talking about the dynasty. And then naturally, kind of the conversation segued into the 49ers. And the 49ers don't have hardware to show yet, but a lot of their operational processes are so similar to the Warriors' operational processes, right? Adaptability. You talk about positional adaptability. You talk about trying to be on the cutting edge of how you're using your personnel on the floor or on the field if it's football. Trying to zag while the competition is zigging. The Warriors definitely did that in the 2010s. They led the three-point shooting revolution in the NBA. The 49ers are leading the positional adaptability revolution in the National Football League. Christian McCaffrey can play running back and he could play receiver. Kyle Shanahan has been big on all this ever since the start in 2017. Kyle Juszczyk, he signs him for big money, record money for a fullback. People said, why? At least the reason why is because Kyle Shanahan doesn't just play fullback. Kyle Juszczyk doesn't just play fullback. Kyle Juszczyk is lining up wide 10 times a year. Kyle Juszczyk is playing slot receiver, the position that he played at Harvard. He's playing an H-back kind of role. He's playing tight end. Deebo Samuel, obviously, is a running back and a receiver for the 49ers. And it's hard to cover this kind of stuff. You're zagging while the rest of the league is zigging. You're influencing what the rest of the league is doing. If and when this finally pays off with a Super Bowl title for the San Francisco 49ers, this will all be viewed as a revolutionary era in NFL history, just like the Golden State Warriors run has been viewed as a revolutionary era in basketball and NBA history. This is the kind of perspective that I'm trying to impart on the people that watch this for the football, but I think there's some crossover between the Warriors, who won that overtime game against the Celtics, and the 49ers, who obviously have the biggest share of attention on this channel. And when you could bring them both together, it's a cool moment. And then you add the whole driverless car thing, and that's cool as well here as we make our way under the Central Freeway in San Francisco. But there's a reason why Kyle Shanahan has compared Christian McCaffrey to Steph Curry. And it was Steph Curry that made the big shot tonight. It's Christian McCaffrey that's delivered so many of the big blows for the 49ers this year. And the main reason that he compares them is because they're both transcendent talents who impact the floor or the field, if you're talking about football, in a way that completely changes the dynamic of the opposing defense. It's gravity for Steph Curry. It's gravity for Christian McCaffrey. Does Christian make life easier for Brock Purdy? Of course he does. Is that the point of a team sport? Of course it is. That's why Brock Purdy is the betting favorite to be the MVP of the NFL, and why Christian McCaffrey is the betting favorite to be the offensive player of the year. I was asked today when I was out, hey, Christian or Brock for MVP? And, I've said this so many times, and I'm going to keep on saying it. I think that Christian McCaffrey is the best player in the NFL. I also think that Brock Purdy is the most valuable player in the NFL. On top of all that, I watched the NFC Championship game last season, and we're making a turn right now. There's the turn. Oh, that's smooth. That's really smooth. I love it. So anyway, I watched the NFC Championship game last season, and I could tell you this. Christian McCaffrey makes life easier. Brock Purdy makes life possible. Just the way that the sport works. So that's what I told these people that asked me about Purdy and McCaffrey, and I think they all agreed. I think it was all good stuff. All right, we're arriving in just a couple of minutes, so I am about to sign off. I'm sorry I didn't see any of your questions today. I think it's a YouTube issue, so we'll figure it out later. But we've made it back to my corner.
Almost there. Don't forget your belongings.
Almost there. Don't forget your belongings. I can't forget my Italian Athletic Club initiation stuff. And I will say goodbye to all of you. So thanks all for joining. Warriors win, overtime, massive win for them, bigger than your typical regular season win. 49ers have a massive game against the Ravens coming up. We'll talk to you soon.